are everywhere. We are absolutely everywhere. From people that get tattoos to people that cry in the shower as they nick their legs with the razor and watch the blood drain down as a relief, for a physical euphemism for bleeding out the pain. We are the ones that bite our fingernails down to the quicks because even that is pain.
This is not new. In fact, the earliest records of self-injury are in the Bible.
Cutters cut, we push the boundaries. And I don't know, I would never classify myself as pushing boundaries when I was cutting because I never thought of it like that.
They don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain why I do it.
These individuals are enraged, and they are enraged for a reason.
The sexual abuse was at 9.
The sexual abuse affects me a lot, and it still affects me.
I just thought it was the best way to, to cause injury. I would just take a fork, a knife, even a butter knife, and just poke a hole in my leg and just start digging at it as much as I could until the pain either start feeling really good or I see it's just how long I could take the pain until I could just take it no more.
I put my foot sideways so I could guarantee that it would hurt it.
I like to cut in patterns. I like to make spirals and parallel lines.
My arms, and then I would starve myself sometimes, and I would break things with my fists, like glass and whatnot.
For me, personally, the self-injury was just a release, a pain release.
Endorphins released to make the panic attack just go away.
When I was younger, I used to self-injure when I didn't feel I deserved to live, or if I felt I did bad and then I needed to be punished.
I once jumped off a wall in an attempt to break my leg for the sake of having a broken leg.
So the age of onset has been discussed mostly at about 12 or 13.
I started to self-injure at the age of about 15. Roughly 14, 15, around high school it started.
I started self-injuring at perhaps about 14 or 15. When I started, it was just knife out of the kitchen drawer, shallow cuts.
Well, I started self-injuring at around the age of 3. My self-injury is a little bit different from what you might think when you think self-injury. I have an OCD. OCD is actually dermatophagia and dermatillomania, which are Latin for skin picking and skin eating. I don't remember exactly when I started at the age of 3, but it was at that age. I was a fairly depressed young man, even at 3. My mom tells me stories about, I would say things like, I wish I'd never been born, life would be easier, things like that. And whether or not those are related, I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were.
When cutters cut for an emotional release, it's not to kill themselves, it's not for the attention, it's like an act of crying, and they get over it. So it's looked down upon people as being, attention grabbing, and, they just want attention, but it's, and for some people, I can't speak for everybody, but for me that wasn't it. That was never like, look what I did, look at my arms. I never ever wanted anybody to see what I did because it was my own thing.
Well, when my friend Aslan died, it was really hard because we had been friends since before even elementary school. We would go to daycare together, and then it was just one day, it's like, oh yeah, she died of a brain tumor. And I didn't know how to react to it. And then the same week, my grandma died of cancer. And that's when it all kind of just went downhill.
And while we're doing this, I might go back to kind of growing up. I think the worst it has ever been was in probably middle school after I hit puberty and was going through all those changes. I would bite really raw until it was bleeding the insides of my knuckles and my palms in this area.
I went through middle school, I had so many friends, I had a best friend, and I thought we would all be friends forever. We went to high school, first day of freshman year, everyone just forgot about me, and I didn't think 3 months of summer would do that, but apparently everyone forgot about me and I didn't know why. So being alone, I needed to do something with my time, and I thought I was one of those emo kind of people that would do that kind of stuff all the time. So I kind of like built on the reputation of doing it alone, you know. I was one of those people without even telling anybody, you know. It was more of a hidden identity kind of situation.
I'd have to go with probably being upset with one's self in a way and feeling guilty for no reason and trying to figure out how to relieve oneself of the guiltiness, and how do you get rid of like shame as you punish the person or the feeling of that, and so punishment of some sort.
Our earliest psychiatric records from 1800s, 1700s are documenting people who are self-injuring. It's not that the behavior is new. Actually, I think it's a good thing. I think that the reason we're talking about it more and more is because it's becoming less stigmatized.
Music therapy is a researched field that uses music to accomplish whatever therapeutic goal you're working on. It's used in geriatrics, autistic kids, special needs, but it's also used in mental health in the psychiatric setting. And it accesses a part of the brain that doesn't normally get accessed and activated, and so it helps with memory. It makes changes within on a very primal level that doesn't always happen with talk therapy or other forms of therapy.
To understand self-injury as an anxiety-based thing or a despair-based thing is to misunderstand it.
One of the biggest problems is not being able to communicate and release emotions, not knowing exactly how, and it gives an outlet for all that energy and anxiety to come out, and it also allows them to look into maybe put words to the feelings that they can't describe.
Like, my question was, like, why can't cutting and crying be seen as normal? You know, crying's acceptable, why isn't cutting? They're both emotional releases.
The worst thing I've ever done to myself physically would probably be quantity of scratches and not actually quality, so to speak. Many cuts on my face, but almost none of them have left physical scars.
Coming out of the first divorce, I used to cut myself a lot because he used to physically beat me to the point of where I have disabilities, so I didn't need to self-injure at that point because he was doing it for me.
I have seen younger cases in my practice, unfortunately. I've seen as young as 6 years old.
How else do I cope? I draw and I sing and I like to sculpt, and sometimes I just hang out with my dog, or I go to the animal shelter and help other animals, because like helping somebody else feel better makes me feel better.
Random thoughts running through my head, pain I'm in. How can we incorporate the thing? Thoughts of early death? I love it. Thoughts of early death. That's perfect. That's perfect.
My pain, my soul, everything that I am, I sing with.
I draw and I sing.
Self-injury, ironically, requires a little bit more emotional maturity. The younger the case, the more you want to look toward organic self-injury, which is more the kind more associated with the autistic spectrum.
I felt I was better than that I could deal with it better.
It was not a fun experience, but it helped me get rid of that stress that I was feeling at the time.
It's to love yourself more than the pain.
Blood shows the pain. Art frees the mind. Fire cleanses the past by burning the present.